We're rejoining the action. This is OK here, and we're watching a Crazyhouse World Championship candidates match between National Master Fumitoks and Sexy and I Know It. And just to run through the first few moves, because I had some technical issues, F3, and Fumitoks went for something quite creative with D6, looking to perhaps win a couple of pawns for that knight. Well, doesn't win a pawn for that knight, but with e6, suddenly that knight, bishop takes e6, you're losing the knight for a pawn. I think he was trying to maybe get an exchange of queens or something. So now the king is finding some haven on h7, but so Fumitoks actually done a good job clearing out a lot of the weakness. Why does he not? If he took the bishop, the risk was knight takes bishop, but why is that a problem? So I'm trying to work out why didn't Fumitoks just take this bishop, but knight takes bishop, rook takes, so I don't see it. Yeah, like this is oh, so thanks Bakus for just confirming it's fine. So this has been a very strange game. In the beginning it looked like Fumitoks walked into, he tried something creative in the opening which didn't quite work, because Sexy knew what to respond, and then he looked like he was getting quite safe, but then with king h8 not king takes h7, I'm not sure what that was about, and he's lost his queen. Well, it's only a queen, but I think he's lost his queen for too little compensation. So he's effectively a piece down, in a piece and a rook. But can black be attacked though? One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it just a rook and I'm just missing? Okay, but Sexy has done a really great job clearing out this back rank, but now the queen is trying to get in. Okay, so he's just trying to penetrate into black's position. Okay, the rook's defending. Ooh, okay, rook will take. The threat is on g7. So I think white's still got enough material to cause trouble. But that's a good move. That queen suddenly comes into play. Yeah, and white's rooks are not really so active. They're in the wrong places. So white has a decent amount of material, but it's not in the right places. So how to defend? Okay, I'm not sure I understand this move, but I guess it's trying to guard this square. Unfortunately, white is completely pinned up. Queen takes rook is a mate, and there's nothing white can do to stop it. White has no pieces to physically stop that mate. So really, really nice play from Fumitoks. From I think a bit of a seesaw game from my perspective, but maybe if we look on Stockfish, it's not so. Okay, so we're seeing that Sexy is playing the same opening. Same kind of opening as Fumitoks played as black, with sort of these f3 ideas hanging in the air. Okay, but Fumitoks is not interested in that. The thing with this is the knight can always be replaced, renewing this attack on f3. But so in this sort of position, yeah, black is a little bit cramped. And I noticed Fumitoks was playing this kind of opening in his previous match just a couple of hours ago against Clearcast. And I recommend you to check out Jan Lee Crazyhouse on Twitch and on YouTube. Do add him if you haven't seen his streams, and do check those out. And the problem is this move, bishop to b5, is forcing the bishop to develop to d7, or encouraging the bishop to develop to d7. It then gets stuck behind this pawn chain, and it's like then the bishop's done its work. It just retreats and begins an attack via g6, especially here now that this h pawn is being pushed. I mean, I think just going, and we saw this as well in the game between Opperweisen against Sexy I Know It. Sexy I Know It in this case was white and used this kind of technique. So bishop here takes, forcing the bishop to d7, or encouraging the bishop to d7. Bishop gets trapped. So basically Fumitoks is giving Sexy a piece of his own medicine, because this is what Sexy I Know It did as white against Opperweisen, and Fumitoks seems to be employing the same tactics in his 2 games today, in his 2 matches today. Now I just realised I forgot to say on lichess.org on my stream title, so I've just edited that now, so we should be getting a lot more people joining us, and hopefully we won't have the technical problems. I'm not streaming from home today, so I've had a little bit more technical issues than usual. So for anyone joining, this is game 2. Fumitoks took game 1. The queen has come to g4 with an attack on g7. Black is very cramped in this position. Okay, so using the rook to defend c3. So that's kind of okay. So white can really take his time in this position in a way, because neither side has any pieces in hand, but white has a spatial advantage, and there are still useful moves that black can play, such as maybe at some point bishop here, maybe rook here. So it's a kind of tense situation, and because it's sort of difficult for black to play moves, we see that Sexy I Know It is burning a lot of clock time just trying to think what to do in the situation. Crazyhouse saying black is dead. It's just black is lacking moves, so he's seen trying to reroute his knight is the plan. Okay, meanwhile f3. So what to do with that knight? Not necessarily good in this position, but I noticed in the game 2 hours ago with Fumitoks, he actually sometimes allowed his knight on f6 to be taken by a pawn, because this advanced pawn is worth almost a piece, but it's not possible just yet. Now this is just a cold piece. Pawn takes knight, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, with even threats coming in on winning another pawn on b7. So black is. Yeah, so what does black have? Black does have a pawn on g3 though, but this too could be bishop takes bishop takes knight. No, then pawn takes. That's defended. So yeah, white does probably a wise thing to do, which is go on a counterattack. Takes. So he obviously wanted that pawn, otherwise he could have easily sidestepped. So obviously a pawn is 2 pawns and a knight feels more dangerous. Yeah, the queen has got no squares. If you actually look along the queen's diagonal, no squares it can go to. And meanwhile, f7 is weak with the knight coming in. I mean, even just simply moving the knight in, but then pawn will land on f7. So maybe drop a pawn on f7 first and then move knight to g5. Yeah, that's what he does. He wins the queen here, queen takes, and knight here. King will go back further. So he's trying to create a kind of space for his king to run. Okay. Black only has a knight in hand, so that's just not enough to mate. The threat is queen here, followed by queen takes bishop, followed by bishop here, checkmate. And here it comes. Okay, so Fumitoks takes a 2-love lead in this Crazyhouse World Championship candidates match. If anyone's joining us, we're now in game 3 and candidates is the top 11 players in Crazyhouse playing against each other. It's been a grueling tournament all year to determine who are the 11 who get to play. The top 11 apart from the world champion Jan Lee, and then the winner of this tournament will play Jan Lee in the grand final in November. And we're seeing here, this was not a good opening from Black, I'm sure. And yet both players are repeating it, and I'm sure White will do better this time round. It's certainly a very strange line. E6, knight returns. Now this black king looks very precarious. It has a temporary haven on h7, but it isn't what I would call safe. White will be looking to exchange materials, especially a diagonal or a knight to go on f7. H-bar says, I guess this must be a stockfish line because they're playing these moves as if they made sense. Yeah, quite. I just missed the last few moves, so just to repeat that again. So it does seem, however, that again White is losing that pawn chain. So the queen doesn't really have that many nice squares to go to. Because the problem is if the queen goes here, okay, we'd have to dislodge that knight, and then knight takes pawn might be an idea. Or even just dislodge this bishop, take this bishop, put a bishop here, I'm not sure. The immediate threat in this position is of course just knight here check and takes the queen. I mean, this doesn't look right, but the queen doesn't have that many squares it can go to. Here it just feels it wouldn't be protecting the king, so I would be tempted by queen e8, but it doesn't look right, I have to say. So Fumitoks going to the think tank here. So the opening was played very rapidly by both sides. Okay, he's giving up the queen for 2 pieces. Very interesting that he would choose to do that. So he's offering knight here check, king here, bishop takes queen, bishop takes bishop. I think that's risky, but I mean, this pawn would fall, the king is still not that great. Black would get a nice rook, black would get a couple of pieces. And Oppa suggests knight takes f8 with the idea why not queen takes here, because takes f5, bishop e6 check. Yeah, and so you have to go queen takes, 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 and the difference is the king ends up on e6. So yeah, so thanks for the comment, Shaka90. That's certainly one idea, and simply just knight to g5 is straight trade is also another idea. Okay, but he chooses instead to secure this bishop. So I'm not commenting from Discord today because I have very low quality internet and I'm not streaming from home. So just doing my best on my own here. I would just go for the queen, but oh, I didn't mean to do that. At g6, yeah, I'm on a pad here. Knight here, check, and pick up the queen for 2 pieces. I mean, it feels good, and is it mating? No, because the bishop on d7 would be now covering e6. Black would have treble g pawns. So what other options are there? It's a very tactical position, this. Well, yeah. Knight takes bishop is also still an idea. Knight takes bishop with bishop e6. Okay, so we've got bishop takes g6. I had not considered that at all. But I guess e6 is weak, so that's going to be one idea. Yeah, put a bishop on e6, but what's the follow-up? Could put a pawn on f5. Okay, so what is this move about? Because it takes, okay, it's giving up the queen, it's blocking defense of f4. Yeah, I don't, I have to admit I don't entirely understand, but I guess the king can't take this knight, because queen here cuts the king off, and then that would be checkmate, in fact. So yeah, that's a nice little thought. So in fact, pawn here, check. Oh no, knight can take it. Oh, for a moment I thought there was something. So he defends the knight. Yeah, certainly that's too dangerous to take that knight. Okay, that's just going to bishop takes bishop. There's no problem with that. Black doesn't really have that many pieces. So, but very nice. He's trying to build a pawn chain into position. He has nothing at the moment, and yet, just in the hope, when pieces are traded later, if you can just get some safety, the knight guarding h7 from any bishop at g6, queen at h7 ideas. g6 is also guarded, so really nice defensive play from Fumitoks. I feel he's losing this completely, but he's very tenacious in defense, which is admirable. That knight replaced with another knight, crucially. He's trying to distract that knight, and he has to just watch out at the back. There's nothing tricky. I think the queen defends all. So I know it's a good defender himself. So I don't think he'll fall for too many cheap tricks at the back. But now h7's a problem. We got 2 attackers on f6 and only one knight defending, and that won't do. So he goes straight for g6. Nice. Does knight takes pawn work? Ooh, queen h7, queen h7. Queen h7 is mate. Followed by knight at f7. Queen h7, what? No! Okay, these guys are better players than that, not to see a mate like that. And the tenacious defense from Fumitoks continues. I missed some commentary. Knight takes f8 is my idea behind knight b4. Knight g4 was hit e3. Yeah. Okay. King can just mop up the pawns itself, I think. Can it? Bishop here. I mean, this is the thing. Black has nothing here. Take this one. He doesn't take that, okay. It's like Black really has nothing in this position. What? What? The bishop covers. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Black did have something there, but Black also did have mate, which they missed. Yeah, so he couldn't go to g8. I was thinking just go to g8, but there's a bishop staring down that diagonal, which I completely missed. Well, yeah, I can't do any analysis today, I'm afraid, so I'll just let that be. So we're seeing an opening which Fumitoks actually essayed first against Opperwesen with the idea of queen to b3, but he's hit immediately with the queen g4, targeting this g2 pawn, which is unprotected. So I think that's some opening prep that Sexy has done in light of the Opperwesen Fumitoks match. Yeah, so I didn't realise there was a bishop staring down this diagonal, so his king was actually trapped. So I can't say. Queen takes e2 would have won, says Shaka90 in the chat there. Yeah, I can't say what. So queen takes d2, only move. Yeah, so he had to take. So I think at that point he was already mated, but I'm sure he missed something. I'm sure he missed some. Black really had no pieces at all. Yeah, the thing is, the bishop was cutting off. There's a bishop here, which I hadn't spotted myself, which was cutting off the king from running. So the king wasn't as free to run as I thought it was. I mean, maybe I should just look at the game, but I'm worried my engine won't cope because this is so. So checkmate is now unavoidable after king takes e2. So just simply take with the queen. Queen takes e2, and white is completely safe. But actually, having gone king takes e2, this is forced mate for black. Incredibly, because this pawn is protected. I was keeping on saying just take this pawn. This pawn is protected, and now in this position it's mate. This bishop is just cutting off the king, so he has to give the queen, and now it's checkmate. King here and pawn here, and again, this square, which you'd normally be able to run to, is cut off by this bishop. But the king was very, very safe, and just the mate, which he missed earlier, by the way, mate in 2, queen here, forcing black to take it, and knight here is checkmate. That's the mistake that shocked me during the game, because Sexy missed it. Going back to the current game, so Fumitoks is 3 love up. So really nice. King f1, protecting g2. So this is the new theory. h4, and he finally gets his queen to b3, which is the original idea. And his knight to g4. So a lot of pieces hitting this f7 square. But is it enough to break through? No, because king, rook, and queen protect, knight, bishop, and queen attack. So if you went knight takes pawn, rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes, king takes, and he probably figured that he doesn't have enough to break through. He would have a rook and a queen in hand and a pawn, and this square, e6 square, is covered, so no point in exchanging everything to go for that line. So, yeah. Okay, he's creating some kind of luft for his king. He's forcing that sort of exchange, but a nice intermediate move from Fumitoks, using that pawn to try and deflect the queen. But the queen can still go here, so is there a follow-up? Takes, so you can just take back. Again, is there a follow-up? Don't see it. Oh, so this is very nice, because this pawn here, I hadn't seen at all, it does block the bishop from e6. So yeah, really nice attack. I can't quite see it working, I can't quite see the finish, but really nice attack. So g7 is a real problem. But white is out, but bishop takes h6. Yeah, this is wonderful game from Fumitoks. How is it going to play out? like still, I'm going to start this just because still defending. I feel like this is a really nice play from both players. Yeah, the knight is not a good defender. Do you really have to put a queen on h8? It's kind of ugly, but yeah, okay. Now, Shaka90 in chat says just take g7. So takes, 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 takes. Yeah, and at the end of the line, you've still got g6 free, and you have a rook for g8. So yeah, I think that will work. G6 is not is queen. Okay, is this going to work? So you can't quite see how to break through. So kudos. Okay, I think it's finishing now. Knight here, check, and queen here, mate was also working. Okay, but pawn there, checkmate. Mate in 1, even nicer. So wow. Yeah, rook takes g7 and pawn f7 check 1 on move 19. Yes, it did. Okay, so we're seeing this line again, which, frankly, and Fumitoks is 4 lav up, so he's like, if an opening works, why not repeat it, right? But this opening does not look impressive for black. But white has to just make sure that he doesn't lose his pawn chain. Okay, so White's doing something very good in this sort of situation, which is just being a little bit more patient. So in the past, it was pawn straight on e6, very aggressive, but the king eventually found its way on h7. This way, it's very much more structurally sound, taking his time a little more. Like, black doesn't have that many more pieces, I've got more room, I'm just going to develop, I'm just going to use my spatial advantage. Very nice. But obviously this diagonal is not something to be proud of for now. So you might even get moves like this at some point. Once black is safe. Just because that will bring out the queen onto a good diagonal, get pawns. Maybe black can get his own attack. Pawn f7 maybe. Yeah, having said that, white has no material to attack with, so just dropping the bishop back is completely fine. So I still think white should be a lot better in this position. Just developing and playing sensible moves. I mean, and if you want to do more. Also, he's left open e6. The knight can just come to e6, pick up a bishop, and then drop a bishop on e6. Okay, pawn could land, but... Okay, maybe... Yeah, maybe that's not such a good idea, because this bishop's a dead piece. It's worth nothing, and this knight is actually quite a decent piece. So using that kind of reasoning, you don't really want to do that, unless you have a concrete tactic that makes it worthwhile. Yeah, just develop normally is good. Okay, so very severe dark square weaknesses in white's position, has to be said. But a big spatial advantage. So if there's low material exchange, I think white will slowly grind his way and make progress. But this is not what we've seen so far. Okay, so he's offering a knight for that bishop. Well, the bishop's a good piece. You don't want to give him diagonals, I don't think. And is a knight a good piece? Knight here is interesting. But knight here, maybe. Not really. Crazy Home in the Lee Chess chat says, got to be the strangest opening moves I have seen. Yeah, so anyone watching this is a 10-game match. Every candidate plays every other candidate in the Crazyhouse World Championship, I'll just post some links in the Twitch chat. If you want to read more about the Crazyhouse World Championship, there you go. If you want to watch other videos, then check out the playlists on my channel, and you can get there's a Crazyhouse World Championship playlist of all the candidate matches which have been streamed, which is all of them, and lots of other fun videos. And if you want to check out the standings, that's the standings link. Okay. And if you are new to Crazyhouse and want to get better at Crazyhouse, that's a nice collection of links and a guide to getting better at Crazyhouse. Okay, so he's gone for the rook, which is interesting. Gone for the rook for a knight, and you have these sort of bishops defending Black's king. It's certainly an unusual position, so it's going to take... It's testing how well Crazyhouse can play this an unusual position. One isn't used to this sort of very closed, dangerous kind of structure near one's king. And still this bishop is dead after the game, so I mean for structural reasons I'm thinking, you know, white should be happy. And yet, as we haven't... Okay, so the knight at g6 is a threat, rook at g8 is a threat. These nothing direct. Okay, bishop, exactly. He's threatening to win the knight, so Fumitoks gives up the queen. Okay, because is there a mate threat? Yes. Knight at g6, followed by queen at g8 is mate. So that's what's going to give Fumitoks some pause for thought. Now simply queen at g8 is a mate threat. Bishop takes, pawn takes, replacing with the getting a queen. Okay, so knight at e7. Or knight at h6. Okay, so can you go rook here? Takes, takes, takes. Okay, he's trying to distract the knight. It's reasonable, but the knight could just pick off this pawn. So what is the idea? Okay, he's going for this pawn or this knight. And in the meantime, also that knight is actually a really nice move. Just provide him some cover. Okay, so the bishop's attacking the queen. You don't want to use the pawn here. I mean, it's fine, you had to, but it's not the kind of thing you want to do. And now a rook here is a real threat. Okay, it's fine, you can just take this pawn for now. But pawn, two knights and a queen. So Fumitoks has been doing that a lot today, basically just trying to keep his king safe. With even like in his match against Clearcast one game, he just had a knight protecting his king, but it was the best placed knight. And he ended up winning the game somehow. Okay, so 6-0 with only 2 seconds on the clock, just trying to cover a rook at h2 mate. Yeah, pawn here, king h1, rook h2 would be mate. Ooh. Because if you went rook h1, rook g1 was mate, so you went king h3, but Fumitoks went rook h1. If we block... So 5 love to Fumitoks. But just in that last position, let's just check this quickly. So rook h1. So, and if white just blocks with the knight, rook takes knight. Okay, I'm going to have to just turn the in 1 second. I'm not. Yeah, white could just block the pawn, say, what's... Rook takes, knight f4 check, king h5, knight takes queen. So black is winning, but there wasn't a forced mate. But maybe he missed... Maybe he missed that the king could go on and take this, or maybe he thought there was some... Yeah, I think he didn't realise this pawn is not protected. And so this isn't mate. But it is lethal. And if we just go back just a few moves, say to this point, yeah, where it looked like white was doing quite nicely. So white does have an edge, but it needs accurate play. It's only +4. Okay, so really nice defense from Fumitoks, and takes a 5-love lead, so he gets at least a draw from this match. And again, we're repeating openings. This looks good. It looks decent for black. The white king can never castle, but white also has some, yeah, it has some nice development. I think both sides, I think this looks like a fair game for both sides. That queen is trapped. What has he done? So yeah, this is very bad for black. What does he do? He gives up his queen for a piece. Ah, okay. So he could be getting a rook back. Yes, this is actually okay. This is not as bad for black as I thought. Yeah, unfortunately I can't play any matches today. I'm away from home. This is just a commentary on a World Championship match between two candidates, two of the top 11 in the game. I'll just post again the link to the Crazyhouse World Championship, to a blog about the Crazyhouse World Championship, so you get all the links you want to know about the Crazyhouse World Championship at that blog. Huh. So okay, so Fumitoks resigned. Why did Fumitoks resign? Let's just... So we saw... He's winning the queen, and he can't even take back the knight, because queen f2 is a mating threat. Yeah, that is a problem. So actually, yeah, in this position, queen takes bishop. Yeah, so it's surprising that the computer takes a while to... Queen takes bishop, knight takes g5, knight takes... Yeah, this was a huge blunder. So knight takes f7, as Crazyhouse suggested in the chat, was good for white. Bishop takes f7 is even mate. Okay, so I'm going to not actually go... Just ignore the current game just for a moment to see, like, this is actually mate. King h8 and h6. If you go e2 check, just take it. So just... He might take the rook. Okay, but the point is h takes g7 is coming, and h6 queen here, and then well, I can well believe that's mate. But why is there no defense after h6? Why not say bishop at f6 or something? And that doesn't work because takes. Okay, the rook is coming in on h7, so the attack is not really even on g7. It's an attack on h7. Rook at h7 is checkmate. So bishop takes, yeah, so Fumitoks just missed this. And here there's a very nice mate, queen at e8. If you block with your bishop, then the queen is taking this rook and dropping a rook on g8, so you have to block with, you have to block with the rook, but then you're coming with the pawn, and you're winning the rook for free, and it's checkmate. So, okay, that was, yeah, laptop definitely can't cope with that. Okay, so as I said, we're watching game 7 now out of 10 in this Crazyhouse World Championship match. Yes, I know this line. You give away the queen for 2 pieces. It's not a bad line. Well, I like it anyway. Okay. Looks like queen takes knight is a threat from Sexy here. So just to see, black has given up. Yeah. So black has, it was a queen for 2 pieces, but black has given up one of those pieces to try and get safe. So just to replay, I mean, the idea of giving up the 2 pieces here, the knight and bishop are both under attack, but you can win 2 pieces for the queen. I think that's okay. But here, he's had to give up another piece to try and defend the bishop and defend f7. I mean, I wonder whether that was, yeah, why not bishop drop back? Because then queen comes and takes c7, I see. So this is the problem. So it's a tough position for black to try and hold. So we'll see how Fumitoks does. He might just give up another piece just to try and get himself developed. I think that's almost essential. Because if you move the knight, the queen takes here. On c7. So white's really not, it doesn't have to be in any particular hurry exactly. I was just going to suggest this. Attack this, so fork on these 2 pawns. The advantage of a fork is then if you harass the queen's still got something productive to do in the position. Also, often it's quite good to move the queen to a place where it's, say, attacking a piece next to it, because it's any attack on the queen won't also attack the piece next to it, usually, unless it were a rook. Okay, so Sexy, he takes the piece. Okay, so now he's a lot of pieces up. Or what it comes down to is he's a queen up. So white has this extra queen, which means 2 extra queens. So really, white should be winning this game. But it requires, Crazyhouse requires your pieces, not having extra to you have to harmonize your pieces. Yep, this is nice. He's going to get a pawn on fast play. He's down to 12 seconds. Played that check quickly. He can also play this check if he ever wants to, but maybe he's afraid of bishop at d7. So there's a threat here on f6, which is kind of nasty. Yeah, and if he defends the bishop, c6 falls. So he defends with the king, which you have to admit is creative. Bishop at d7 comes. 20 seconds against 3 seconds. Where's that queen going next? He's got a little chance to think. Black throws in a check. I still wonder where that queen is going. Yeah, working out where you want to move your queen is a very time-consuming activity. So you don't want to do that if you don't. Takes a bishop landing here. If it went, okay, he's still in check. Knight takes queen, bishop takes bishop is check. That's the problem. If bishop takes bishop, queen takes and gets the queen out of dodge. Still check though. Oh, maybe it's a draw. Yes, it's a draw. It's a draw by repetition. The game is settled already, so actually Fumitoks can be actually delighted with the draw because it means it guarantees him the match win. Speaking of which, I'm just going to, during this game, I'm going to update the standings. And I'll just post the standings link after I do. So Fumitoks is one player who does have a chance, if he wins every single match, of catching Opperweisen in first place and being the challenger to Jan Lee. But realistically, that's going to be very difficult. So we saw Fumitoks earlier today beat Clearcast 6 games to 4. And in this match, Fumitoks plays sexy. Okay, just. Okay, so what's happening here? So if since Fumitoks does win that match, this actually means that Fumitoks overtakes Sexy in the rankings, reaching 4th place, with only 12-team GSVC and Opperweisen ahead of him. 3.5 points with 5 matches remaining. A potential maximum still of 8.5 points, and Opper is on 8.5 points currently. Yeah, okay, so back to this. So I'll just run through this game from the beginning again. So we saw this line that we've seen in many of these games, but Black is smart to not losing his queen this time round. So how does he avoid that? So he's blockading that pawn. Okay. So certainly very aggressive flank play from Fumitoks. Let's see what people are saying in the game chat. Sexy secures the loss of the match with a well-timed draw. It is easy to win this game, even easier to lose, but hard to make a draw. And then Crazyhouse says, after drawing a completely won position. Anyone know what happened in the 12-team Fumitoks match? Says John Stuckey. Why did 12-team want or end up forfeiting? Yes, so 12-team and Fumitoks, they didn't play and they'll need to rearrange. So what actually happened was 12-team had a problem with his computer. And Fumitoks didn't like hanging around waiting while he tried to fix it. Okay, so this queen It's very interesting. Staring down this long diagonal. Is bishop to f7 a good move? But again, Sexton really needs to keep a reserve on his clock. Okay, what is the idea? He doesn't even take the bishop because I guess he's afraid of opening up this rook file. I'm going to have to play these last moves just a little bit more slowly. I'm sorry. So he's concerned about f2, which I guess is interesting. But now his back rank is not protected at all, so you can't drop pawns on the second in this case. But I don't know. There's something wrong about this position. Is there some idea? Okay, so he blocks off the bishop diagonal. Ouch, that's going to hurt. That's really going to hurt because he's losing queen or rook, and that's coming in on the back rank. And potentially he's losing this as well. Okay. What's the finish? I was wondering if even knight takes queen would work. Knight takes queen. Maybe not. Queen here blocks. So maybe there is nothing. Yeah, and the problem is if white gets a queen, queen h1 is a mate. So he's using this knight to protect himself in a way. Ooh, so that's a check. Okay, now he can pick up the rook. But he throws in another check and then picks up the rook. So he puts in the rook, yep, brilliant. And I was thinking pawn here, but okay, he goes for the bishop. Okay, that's not... Okay, fine. As long as white doesn't have that much material, because he's expending all his material and defending himself, black really should win this. So he's instead of going via here, he's going via g3 to get to e1, and it's I can't see a defense at all. In fact, takes. You're then going to have. You could always pick up another pawn and then go and attack, unless white can get some material to attack with. I can't see what. So that's a very beautiful mate from Sexy I Know It. Played very rapidly. So he loses the rook, but knight and bishop are enough to mate. Okay, so we see this line now played for the 5th time, is it? 7th, 8th, yes, the 5th time. Game 9 of this match. Out of 10 games. So Sexy I Know It's fighting back in the second half of this match, winning 2.5 of the last 3 games, and even the game he drew, he was doing pretty well in. But already left 5 down from the first 5 games, so it's going to be. So the game is decided. Sorry, the match is decided. Okay, can black try and get in on g3? He could, but I think that the concern is white then gets in on e6. So, yeah, this doesn't look good because you're creating weaknesses. but black does get a bishop to defend with. And knowing bishop was going to land here, knowing everything we know so far. Actually, Sextono and Fumitoks, yeah, they are both quite fast players, but they are also both players who really let their clock run down. So H-bar says it's +3 or +4 for white after pawn at e4. I'd say, yeah, absolutely. You've got solid pawn structure, lots of space. Black has space, but his space is like on the king side. It's like openness around his king. And Operating says black got no compensation for the weak holes on the white squares. Yeah, it's a big problem. And now even c6 is weak. So how did he defend again? He did indeed drop a bishop on e8. Okay, he's going to fill in the holes. Okay, so targeting e3. And Chaos Mention says the compensation for this weak position for black is 90 seconds extra on the clock. Just wondering about rook takes pawn there. The idea of pawn takes pawn here. Bishop has to take. Sorry, in this position. Rook takes pawn takes pawn here. Bishop has to take, then knight takes bishop. But then the knight's a little bit trapped, so it's not very convincing. It's just an idea. Stuff is dropping. So trapping the bishop with the rook. So you must really value that bishop. Legion Destroyer in the chat says, rook at c8 resigns. Yeah, pick off the rook and drop it on c8. It's a nice idea. Okay, black is picking up a knight. So I mean, in terms of material, black is doing better than okay. Rook's going to be a very powerful piece on h2. It's difficult for Sexy to defend. Yeah, and in terms of position as well, black does seem fairly safe. Takes. Yeah. So black seems safe for now. Rook at h2. He wants a pawn. Is there a mate? Not yet, it seems. Is a knight mating? So it looks like he's trying to take this bishop, maybe. Or rook here check first, and yeah, this bishop stops that. Okay, so Where's the mating idea? Pawn takes bishop. Pawn takes bishop. King takes forced. Knight takes bishop. Ooh. Pawn takes bishop. King takes was forced because if rook takes, rook at h2 is checkmate. Okay, he wins the queen. Yeah, this is lethal. Queen at g1 was the immediate threat, as well as many other things. Okay, so Fumitoks gets back on the scoreboard, having already taken the match. Pushes the lead to 4 points, and this is game 10 out of 10. Mason 302, yeah, absolutely. Says Blunderman in the Twitch chat. Last game was mate. So have we seen this game? I think Fumitoks has been taking this match pretty seriously, despite the weird looking openings. Okay, so he sacks a piece for a pawn. Does he have the follow-up? So I think pawn takes, the idea is just to keep the king in prison, as it were. Imprisoned. I think you could even just take this pawn. And the idea is then you don't have a knight, that's the problem. So well, he has a knight now. This feels like overly aggressive play, but maybe it's a draw if they're going to repeat. Yep, it's going to be a draw. Okay, so that's how the match finishes. 7-3, 2 draws. Between Fumitoks and Sexy I Know It. I'm just going to input that into the standings, and then I'll bring up the standings so you can see the latest standings. Okay, so so people are also saying in the chat that okay, so can't see everything all in one go. Standings are too big. It's anyway a bit smaller. Okay, that's too small, but okay. At least you can see everything now, hopefully. Okay, so we see here Operazen on 8.5 out of 9 with 1 game to play. And the only one who can catch him is GSVC. The only ones who can catch him are GSVC on 7.5 out of 9 with 1 game to play. And Fumitoks now on 3.5 out of 5 with 5 games to play. Means a potential 8.5 points. But he'd have to get his game points up to above Operazen on 61. And also he'd have to beat some formidable names like JK and 12teen and GSVC. In fact, if we look at the full standings, and I'll make it just a little bit bigger again now, we see Operazen in first place, GSVC in second, and 12teen in third, and Fumitoks, having played half of his matches, is in 4th place. Schwanet in 5th, and Sexy I Know It in 6th. So, really excellent play from Fumitoks, catapulting himself into the top half of the standings within a week of rejoining the Crazyhouse World Championship after a suggestion earlier that he might not play. Okay, so some really good games I missed mate from Sexy, and when she ended up losing that game, it was a bit of a shame. Upper Raisin says, "Yep, draw incoming." It was telegraphed. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this coverage of the Crazyhouse World Championship. The next, I should say also calendar. Okay. Well, actually, what I'll suggest is just go to the blog, and then there is a calendar at the blog of upcoming events. So you can see it here, upcoming events, just loading up. And also, by the way, just to let you know, there's just a blog just from today about Crazyhouse puzzles on Lichess, and you can see all these practice against computer studies. Over 180 puzzles, more incoming, and solutions to those puzzles. I'll sort out those links soon. So, and just to give you the upcoming events, the next match will be tomorrow, same time as today. Schwanet against Little Plotkin, 4 PM GMT, that's 5 PM is London time. 4 PM GMT, Schwanet against Little Plotkin, and I'm not sure who's going to cover that, so tune in for that, 4 PM tomorrow. But that's enough from me. If you want to see previous coverage, check out my YouTube, and check out Jan Lee Crazyhouse, and check out the playlists on the YouTube of all the previous streams. And actually, if you want links, just scroll down in this blog. Give you the blog link in the chat. You can see that was the halftime table, and here you can see all the videos of all the matches played so far. And then there's even a halftime recap stream, and part 2 of that, and some studies, some highlights. So yeah, check it all out. Thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, round 5. If you want to get better at Crazyhouse, what you want to look at is the guide to Crazyhouse here. And if you want to read more about the Crazyhouse World Championship, see all the links about that. This is a guide to Crazyhouse on this site. And if you want to read more about the Crazyhouse World Championship, then check it out here, and do join the Discord, this link here, where we discuss and chat about the game. And here you can see recap posts of the first 5 rounds, and also an introduction to the candidates, which is what we're playing right now, sort of profile of the 11 players who are playing the candidates. So all that stuff, lots of good stuff to check out if you're interested in Crazyhouse. See you next time. Bye.